And what a roster it's been. Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, Boris Becker, and last year, Michael Stich of Germany. Today at the Festhalle, two of these former champions will play for the right to lift the 1994 trophy. American Pete Sampras, the world's #1 player, is looking to redeem an injury-plagued summer and fall. And he's been looking better every day. But he faces the hometown hero, Boris Becker, whose success in recent months has got him back in the top 5 after missing the event last year. Expect a match of style and power and a fitting conclusion to the week. It's the IBM ATP Tour World Championship from Frankfurt next. It all started before the Australian Open in January and wound its way across 6 continents. Over 1,000 players played the tour, and it's down to 2 at the IBM ATP Tour World Championship. Boris Becker, who dominates the sports scene here in Germany, versus the top player in the world from the USA, Pete Sampras. Best of 5 sets for the World Championships. The winner will add $650,000 to his winnings this week. Very warm greetings, everybody. I'm Cliff Dreiser alongside Mary Carrillo and the fiery one, Fred Stolley. The weather is a little bit better today, and the Festhalle here is in the background. It is going to host a terrific match today. Mary Carrillo, let's face it, for Pete Sampras, the top player in the world, this second half of the year wasn't that great, but he's coming right at the right time.
That's true. The first half, you couldn't have asked for more from Sampras. He won so many titles, 2 Grand Slams. Then he was injured in the summertime. He even had a bad knee this fall, but he's come on very, very well. He was almost mathematically out of this championship a couple of days ago because Boris Becker beat him in straight sets, and that hurt his chances. Becker had to beat Edberg for Sampras to even be here. Then Sampras played terrific tennis against Andre Agassi yesterday. Nobody pressures Pete Sampras from the baseline like Agassi did, but in this second set tiebreak, Sampras came up with the goods, ended up beating Agassi in the 3rd set, and I think he really wants to win this one today against Becker. As I said, he's already lost to Becker this week, and he lost to Michael Stich in the final here last year, so he's got a lot to prove, and I think he's up for it.
He has won it before, so he knows how to win, nevertheless. We'll find out. He does have a tough assignment today, Fred, because the crowd is going to be on his side. There's going to be a lot of emotion here as well. Becker sort of feels so good about his game at the moment.
They've had a pretty good time of it here in Frankfurt the last 3 years, the German fans, because Stich won it last year and Becker the year before. Becker's through to the final again this year, and he has not lost a match. Surprisingly enough, in the other side, as Mary said, Sampras came out and beat Agassi. Agassi had not lost a match until that time, and now Boris Becker is on a mission, I believe. I think his second serve at this stage is the best it's been. That caused him problems. He's won in a couple of matches this week more points on his second serve than he has on the first. Indoors, favourite surface. He's won 25 of his 41 titles indoors. I think he's on a mission, but Pete Sampras is getting better every match that he plays. And he played, that was the first match he played against Becker, and Becker had his second. So I'm not even going to pick a winner this one, Cliff. I wouldn't touch it yesterday. I think it's too tough a call.
In any case, Fred, it is a dream final because you've got Germany's best against the top player in the world in Frankfurt. Our coverage of today's IBM ATP Tour World Championship match is being brought to you by IBM. There is a difference. And by Panasonic Smooth Operator Wet-Dry Razors. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be. Coming up, the championship match, best 3 of 5 sets, Pete Sampras of the USA and Boris Becker of Germany. It's about as great a matchup as you could expect. I suppose that if you had Andre Agassi in the final against Becker, that may be as appealing, maybe even a little more appealing, depending on your feelings about Pete Sampras. For my money, though, the top player in the world, the #1 ranked player on the IBM ATP Tour is Pete Sampras. He deserves to be here. He's had a terrific year. And he will take on Germany's hometown favorite, Boris Becker.
Pete Sampras is 3 years younger than Boris Becker. Though he's born in Washington, D.C., and his parents, his whole family still lives out in California, he really spends all of his time in Tampa, Florida. And, of course, I agree with you, Cliff. I mean, he's had a remarkable year. He's already won 9 titles on all 4 surfaces. And, in fact, on one of those titles, the Italian Open was on slow red clay against Boris Becker, who has not yet won a clay court title in his whole career.
Boris Becker, on the other hand, is going to be 27 years of age in a couple of days. And he's from Lehman, Germany. He's started off slowly this year, hadn't had the year that he really wanted, but then coming into the US Open, or prior to that, he was a big pick for the US Open, but lost in the opening round there to Richie Renneberg after having won New Haven and Los Angeles. So Boris Becker's really playing some great tennis here. This is his favourite surface, indoors on carpet. Pete Sampras is yet to beat him on a carpet surface, and this is a tough one. I think in my mind that Pete Sampras has got a little bit of a head case. He's a little bit of a head case as far as Boris Becker is concerned, indoors on the carpet. He talks about it, and that's going to be tough for him to overcome today.
One thing is for sure, that is that Becker is back. He will be number 2 in the world with a win here today. Number 2. We asked him about his resurgence this year.
I don't believe I came back. I believe I was never gone. When you're not in the top 5 anymore, journalists and through them the people outside believe that you're no more playing anymore. But I was the number 10 player in the world last year, so it wasn't like I didn't play or dropped to number 50. I was still there, but I couldn't produce top level tennis because of the things I told you about. So now I put that aside, and I am in the top 5 again, and therefore I don't think I came back. I just did what I know to do best, and I concentrated only on tennis this year.
Jerry Armstrong is in the chair for this best of 5 set championship final. Becker and Sampras for $650,000. They have played against each other 10 times. It is tied at 5 apiece. Last meeting, this second round here, round robin competition, won by Becker in straight sets. But indoors, it has been all Becker, as you have already mentioned, 5-1. So the only time that Sampras beat Becker was the aforementioned World Championship match here in Frankfurt. Outside of that, all the indoors have gone to the man from Germany. Here's a look at Tim Gullikson, who is Pete Sampras' coach.
Quite incredible. Becker talks about, well, I don't think I ever got out of, went away. It's not a comeback, not a resurgence. I never left. But when you've won Wimbledon the first time at an age of 17 and unseeded, and then you get to the top of the tree, and at the age of 26 you drop out of the top 10, then tennis people say, well, he's not doing as well as he did when he was 20, so he's gone off the boil, as I like to say. But Boris Becker's second serve has made a big difference to the kettle boiling again, and he's back with us.
The 92 World Championship that we were just talking about a minute ago, won by Sampras on carpet, the only time he's beaten him. Becker went on to get to the semi-final. In fact, he won it all on his birthday, and they gave him a tremendous birthday party that year. It was really one of the most poignant moments of the last few years for me. It was a tremendous party and a well-deserved win by Becker. Then the next year, 93, he didn't make it. He was close. But like Stich this year, he ended up 1 or 2 out of the World Championship field, which is the Elite 8 of tennis. Now here again, he stands on the brink of another World Championship, but Sampras is in his way.
In the round robin competition, 7-5, 7-5. Sampras had a couple of opportunities. He didn't attack the Becker serve enough, the second serve. First point of the match. I have seen Sampras start off with an ace down the middle, but most times he'll test that one out wide on his opening serve.
Pete came into this final with 51 aces in 4 matches. That's more than anybody, though Becker's right behind him with 46.
Fine return. Becker faced a lot of these yesterday against Bruguera. Just takes the speed, good solid, makes the incoming opponent half volley the shot. Then that certainly sets up a choice of shots for your passing shot. Anytime you can make the incoming volley, play half volleys, they're tough to hit winners off that half volley.
Boy, he had that one too.
30-15.
30-15.
9 titles this year, including Antwerp, became the first player to win that many since Lendl in '89. And the final that he lost was to Todd Martin at Queen. Sorry, man.
The only man since Lendl in '87 to start the year at #1 and end the year at #1. In recent years, boy, it's been flip-flopping back and forth between Courier and Edberg. This guy, Pete.
First player to win 70 matches in a year. It's a lot of firsts for this young man.
All in the first game. But we should say, as we said yesterday in the semi-final when he was playing against Agassi, that as good a year as Agassi has had in the second half of the year, if Agassi has a good first half of next year, he could make it to #1 without much problem, depending on how Sampras does. 30 all.
Sampras has been injured the last few months. You know that he had to forfeit in Davis Cup play to Stefan Edberg. And he's getting better in each match that he's played here. Becker goes for that one. The thing with Becker, though, is he's got all his fans here, some 9,000 of them. They were all here yesterday, and he lost the first set, and he was within a few points of losing the match to Bruguera. We had 9,000 spectators here. They did not know what was going on. They were like stunned mullets. He got out of it, though, and they were on their feet when they finished. Another ace there from Sampras as he wins the opening game of this final.
First game.
One in the world, nobody is even close at this stage, and we had a chance to talk to him about being on top of the tennis world.
You know, as a kid, you know, I've always maybe said that I wanted to be #1, but the reality of it, it's very tough to do. I think you, first of all, need the ability to do it, and you have to really want to be #1. You know, it's the difference between saying it and wanting it. Now that I've gotten there, I want to stay on top for as long as I can, and I just, as a youngster and growing up, I've wanted to develop a game that really didn't have any holes, that I could stay back with the Couriers, or I could serve and volley. I can kind of have an all-court game, and I think that's a game that can win the French and win a Wimbledon and win them all. In 1 year, great. If not, then that French Open is something that is going to be a huge challenge.
Back now to the match. Becker serving, 15 love, 1 game to Sampras. Wide.
15 all.
Sampras idolised Rod Laver in his youth and tried to model his game round, as Cliff's told you on numerous occasions. He had two-handed backhand when he first started, but developed a one-hander. This year at Wimbledon, he actually practiced with both Laver and Rosewall.
Borrowed a racket to do that.
And he was asking Rosewall about his slice backhand. I think that's something that Pete used a lot on the grass courts at Wimbledon, but that's something that I feel that indoors on carpet he could use a little more
15-30.
on his approach on the return of serve. If he's going to chip and charge, very difficult to chip and charge when you have to plant that front foot and roll your backhand, come over the top of your backhand on a backhand approach. $15-30. Good solid serve, pinpoint accuracy, not a lot of power. This is the opening service game for Becker, and he goes directly down the tee. Sampras looking for it straight at him or the other way. It was just a good solid first serve. Those two serves have been 171k and 166, so you're talking about just over 100 miles an hour, between 103 and 106 miles an hour.
Becker has got up to 125 in the event, though, so he's got a long way to go. Remember when the adrenaline was flowing at the end of the match yesterday, he sure was cranking it up at the 120-mile-an-hour level.
Well, I think if you can serve them at 105 mile an hour, 106 mile an hour, and get them in the corners the way he did there on that forehand side or out wide or even down the tee, there's not much your opponent can do. And it's a nice relaxed service motion, that game, a very clean game from Becker.
And even the one double fault from Becker, we've seen him double fault a lot because he is going so much with a big second serve.
15.
Not including Davis Cup, Becker has had good results here in Germany. 47-18 career, 8-2 in '92, which was a great year for him when he won the World Championship here. 7-2 this year. He says that this German crowd expect miracles of him, and they do.
When you dissect the game here, just my personal thoughts on the two players, I think off the ground from the baseline, I think Sampras has got a slight edge. I think he's a little more consistent than Becker off the forehand side. Return of serve, I've got to go with Becker on the backhand and Sampras on the forehand. And the serves, well, that just depends on who's serving at their best on a particular day. Volleys, Sampras.
I thought you'd have given Sampras the serve going away, Fred. I would have anyway.
I think it's a better motion, Clifford, but if Becker continues the way he is, and the second serve, I think Becker uses his second serve, or he has this week, used it better than Sampras.
Now, we've been talking about it. He's trying to uncomplicate it with Nick Bollettieri as his coach, and he has succeeded. There were just too many movements in that, so there were too many things that can go wrong, and one of the secrets of the sport is to try to uncomplicate it. And Becker's done that, but he's 2 games to 1 down, no breaks, first set, best of 5. Take it easy, everybody. It's going to be a great afternoon at tennis. City of cathedrals, and it's really a great deal of charm. Home of apple wine, too. 2 games to 1. Sampras leads.
Last summer, Boris Becker was reading some Goethe, some Hermann Hesse. You can read some pretty serious stuff. You don't see him flipping through the tabloids in the men's locker room.
If he did, he'd read a lot about himself.
That's exactly right.
Here he would anyway.
Once again, he's come out with such a nice, smooth rhythm.
That was a good change-up too, because the first one went out wide to the forehand and it was a let. Sampras looking for that, and now this time right down the tee. It's his 4th ace. Straight at the body on that first serve. So Becker's tournament stats through 4 matches. He's 46 aces, 14 against Bruguera. There the service points won 78% over the period of the week, and break points saved 71%. Pretty good stats.
He's only been broken 4 times in 4 matches. Pete was broken 6 times in all, and twice by Becker. Actually, what got Pete Sampras in trouble in this event was that he lost in straight sets to Boris, and that made it very dodgy for him to even be around for the weekend. So yeah, this is a big difference, I think, between Becker and Sampras. Becker will come in all the time, first and second serve. Sampras tends on this court to be hanging back a little bit because it is pretty slow.
And on the return of serve, that's a slice one there. He had the racket underneath. He didn't really slice it, but Becker looks at one rack. Look at this. This is the perfect spot to hit a forehand volley. Round about waist high, eye on the ball, head of the racket up until you finish the shot. I think that Becker on that second serve comes in, and Sampras really doesn't get the ball down. He hits that top spinner, so he's got to time it a little bit better. Becker's a little more flat on the backhand return when he goes for it.
15 love. While you were talking about the round robin, Mary, let's point out to everybody that Boris Becker really allowed Pete Sampras to be in this championship match, as you see the replay of that volley, because Becker beat Stefan Edberg in 3 sets. But Sampras's fate was in Becker's hands, because in the 3rd set, if he had lost to Edberg, he would still have been in the semi-finals, and so would Edberg in place of Sampras.
Good safe volley here from Sampras, and he picks off the cross-court passing shot. He knows that Becker's played that from way behind the baseline. If he just gets it over the net, a good firm wrist made the shot.
Steered it in, 30-15.
This is a shot that I feel Sampras has to use against Becker a little more. He did not use it in the first the match in the round robin, the forehand down the line. Becker floats that down. You really can't reach that if you're coming in to make the volley because of the height of the shot. Well, this match has started off at a crackerjack speed. This is a brilliant return, and Becker comes in as he should to make put the pressure on Sampras, and Sampras answers it. Becker with a diving volley, but then Sampras keeps his eye on the ball. He doesn't watch his opponent moving at the net. He has to keep his eye on the ball to make that shot.
We're going to take a break. No breaks of serve yet. 3-2. Sampras, top player in the world, is leading. Boris Becker so far has made $665,000 this week. Pete Sampras has won $575,000 this week. The winners here today will take home another $650,000. So it's be 1.315 or 1.160 in millions of dollars for a week's work. Not bad.
Ace number 5. And again, just a slider out there halfway up that service box. No way Pete Sampras can reach that one.
3-2 Sampras. 15 love.
Oh, boy, he's hit that one down there. Sampras has got to be aware of that because that ace has been down there on 4 occasions. He's come up with 4 aces right down the tee. I think the strategy that Coach Bollettieri and Becker have talked about here is really paying off because he has not yet gone for that big booming serve. He's just 3/4 pace and pinpoint accuracy.
Very sweet move there from Pete. Looking for this forehand. Look.
This one doesn't quite get out as wide. It's only 1 step for Sampras, and he drills it back cross court. That's his favorite return off that deuce court, is the forehand cross court.
6 aces for Becker, 2 for Sampras so far.
Actually, that cross court forehand cost him against Becker in the first match. He did not go down the line on 1 return, and Becker was picking off forehand volleys just as though they were just routine.
The
Great
running
shot.
forehand.
Yes. Down the line, clean winner for Sampras. It's 30-all.
It's such a good shot of Pete's, and he likes going after it. I mean, he really, his footwork, I think, is terrific going for this running forehand because he knows he makes his shot a lot.
Becker wouldn't have reached that had he covered it because it came from way outside the court. About, watch this, it's about 6 feet out the court, and it gets right in the corner. So it would have been out as it went past Becker. It got inside the court right around the baseline area. There's that serve again.
7 aces for Becker, and Sampras just got to wipe his brow and go for the next one. That running forehand is such a dangerous shot, as you two have said, because you can't really cover for it because the angle that he can get if he goes cross court is just too dangerous. Game point.
Well, that'll bring his first serve percentages down, but through 3 games of serving, he's up there at 80% of first serves in. Sampras is at 40%.
This match has started out on a high note, hasn't it? I mean, these two have realized that they need to get out of the blocks very quickly. 3 games all, first set.
Winners with Sampras and Becker, pretty close there. Unforced errors, Becker's come up with 5. But in my opinion, it seems the strategy that Becker is using now is to go to the Sampras forehand. He hasn't served to Sampras's backhand. He's mixed it up probably about 8-2.
That's wide.
Boy.
But close.
That sends a big message to Sampras. You know, the measure of this match will be where both these fellows are going to be taking their first volleys from. I mean, Sampras got in nice and tight on that. And Becker still just barely missed
Some of the crowd don't realize, Mary, that it was called out.
until the score was called
Yeah.
now. Sampras has got to also lift his first serve percentage. Becker's a nice healthy 75, Sampras 44. That one had a lot of movement on it. Broke away from Becker.
Becker is fond of saying that matches like this really are more than just tennis. There's so much more involved. To the extent that that's true and it's a mind game, he's in terrific shape here. He is mentally as strong as I've ever seen him. Incidentally, Becker's number 3 in the world right now. If he wins this match, he'll be number 2 behind Sampras.
Good crowd on hand here, and Sampras' tournament stats through 4 matches. He's come up with 50 aces, served 20 of them against Agassi. First service points won, 82%. Net points won, he's been in there a lot, 63%. And second serve points won, 56%.
40-15.
Talk about the physical strength of Becker. He's so supremely fit now that even though this is a pretty fine first serve, he muscled it back into the open court.
Yeah, I talked about that shot like the other day. It's like the great Australian Lou Hode. Even Rod Laver, you need fantastic forearms, big strong forearms. It's like a forearm jolt, that return.
Sampras holds on with relative ease, 4-3 on serve in the first set. This is a green set court. It is an indoor surface that's very similar to what you may remember as a Supreme Court that has been played on for so long. And it is playing more slowly than it used to because the balls are apparently heavier. The result is that the tennis here has been more compelling this year than any other event that I've ever seen at this tournament. 4-3, Sampras ahead.
Boris Becker won the Stockholm Open a couple of weeks ago, beating, among other people, Pete Sampras. He beat the number 1, 2, and 3 player in the world, and that was a much, much faster surface, and Pete looked rather hapless against Becker. That's his 8th ace. The other night, really, I mean, Sampras could not break Becker, and he had 2 bad service games, and that's why it was a straight sets win. The slower surface, I would think, would favor... I think Sampras prefers the slowness of this court more than Becker. Becker likes a court with speed on it. That's why he's so tough in the indoor season and at Wimbledon.
all.
Pretty good outfit. Clifford looked good in that.
Clifford looked good in anything but his own clothing. Let's face it, Fire.
30 love.
He's just got terrific rhythm on the serve at the moment. And you can keep rolling at this stage of the opening set, and you've still got your first serve percentages up there at 74%. That's just brilliant play. You don't have to play too many tough volleys under those circumstances. Boy, can't do much about it.
4 games all in the Singles World Championship here in Frankfurt. Next weekend, Fred and I will be in Jakarta, Indonesia. The Doubles World Championship, Jacco Hilting and Paul Hauhus of Holland, and then Byron Blacks from Nick Price's country of Zimbabwe. He's playing with Jonathan Stark of the USA. And you've got the Woodies, Woodford and Woodbridge, and Patrick McEnroe and Jared Palmer are alternates. Not sure that they'll get to play. 4 games all. First set here with Sampras about to serve.
looks at a return of serve that I think is a little different to Sampras's return, and Sampras is down at 43% on first serves. Becker has the ability to flatten this return out. It catches Sampras even behind that service line. That's when things start to get very difficult. He made a pretty good shot of it, looked at a good volley. It was not a difficult volley. I think it took him a bit by surprise, that shot. A little too easy for him, and he missed it.
From center.
15 all.
15 all.
Said to Byron Black at the US Open this year, I said, I hope you've called Nick Price, congratulated him being #1 in the world, because at a certain time he was #1 in the world in doubles, you know. And he said, no, but I think I should do that. 15 all. Byron Black will be
Rising from center. 30-15.
World Doubles Championship next weekend. 30-15. It's jammed, this place. Any untaken seat that you see in your shot is only untaken because it doesn't have a view of the court.
Oh, that's the first wild one that he's played. He lifted right up on that backhand. That's the difference, though, between that shot. He doesn't flatten that shot out as well as Becker does. Big point right now.
Yep.
And listen to the crowd, the hometown crowd. This is where it becomes difficult when you're #1 in the world, or it doesn't matter who you are if you're playing against Boris Becker. Still below 50% on first serves. There we go. Under pressure. The only double fault that he's served so far in the match. It's come at a terrible time for Sampras.
First break point for Becker.
And a little bit of that's got to do with the crowd.
One bad game is all it takes.
He's got it. What a shot on the return. He was waiting for it, and he just hit it clean cut for a winner. And Becker has drawn first blood. He's got the lead 5-4, and he'll serve for the first set after they take a seat. Remarkable career for Becker. He won Wimbledon when he was just 17 years old in 1985. In 1986, he got up to #2 in the world. He never made it to #1, though, until he won the Australian Open in 1991. It didn't last long, though, as Edberg then overtook him, and they swapped the #1 spot for most of that year. He'd dearly like to get back to #1, but he's got a long way to go to catch up with Sampras points-wise. He's serving for the first set.
Pretty much a carbon copy set this from the first match they played in the round robin competition, only it was a game later when disaster struck Sampras. And the telltale has been the serve. Only tonight it's the first serve from Boris Becker. The other evening it was the second serve, but Pete Sampras is pretty much in the same hole. He did not serve well the other night, and he's down at 42% first serves in today.
Love 15.
Onto that forehand again.
15.
Becker has just served, I mean, extremely well. Let's face it, 9 aces. And he's keeping the pressure on even in the second serve.
Again, he credits his fitness. He says he's getting a lot of strength from his legs and from his stomach muscles.
Yeah, 15-30.
There's a good return there from Sampras. Stayed down low. Becker couldn't do much with the volley, and Sampras was helped by the net cord here. Watch this. Hits the top of the tape, takes a fair bit of pace off her, so that allows Sampras to wait for Becker to commit. Becker was looking for the backhand down the line.
Yeah, that's just a great return there from Sampras, putting the pressure on Becker. Now he's got a couple of break points. Becker is played so well, in my opinion, because he's got his strategy right. There is no questioning himself. He's trying to get into the net really at the first chance. On the other hand, Sampras sees himself as an all-court player, which he is. But I think that makes him hang back more than he should on a surface like this. Break point.
Well, that was a bad shot. It's all very well to say that from up here, but just in consideration of the shots that he's played before in this game, that backhand never got halfway up the net. An opportunity for him to break back. Tough serving for the first set. It's not like Becker's not as relaxed as he is in this game. He has been to get to 5-4. Still a break point.
He got it. That will not go down in the record books as an ace, but it might as well.
Well, you don't get too many opportunities, and Sampras threw one away with an opportunity to make the passing shot 2 points ago.
Deuce. Topspin lob was a little short, and that gave Becker the advantage in that point, and he has now got set point coming up.
Becker.
That was more relaxed serve. That was just, that's the first big one that he's gone for. Just under there. Look at Sampras is worried from the crowd because it's starting to get to him even here at the back of the court. He's raising his hand saying, come on, it's just like being in an NFL game when the quarterback or the tight end gets the crowd, wants him to cheer so they can't hear. So Sampras has got to try and block that out.
122 mile-an-hour ace.
Thing is, Fred, as much as it's great for Becker that they're all behind him, that kind of energy from the fans, it could help Sampras too. It can get him heated up.
Well, I don't think I've ever played in a situation where that's happened.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you get it. I mean, if there's that much energy in the crowd, the match becomes real big and you get into it, don't you? I mean, it becomes a heavyweight.
Get into it. He's not going to go away and leave it, but it does. No, it makes him want to win more, if that's what you mean, yeah.
That's a great shot from Becker, 15-all.
But it gives, my point is, I don't disagree with that. My point is that it gives Becker a lot more of an edge in a situation like that than it does.
It's Davis Cup.
Yeah, it's Davis Cup. It's playing home ground advantage, and Davis Cup is worth a couple of points.
15-all.
Oohs and ahs.
I remember Jaroslav Drobny talking about playing against an Italian player in Rome, and you know all about that, Fred.
Oh, yeah.
But
I used to like doing that. That used to get me going. That's what Mary was.
30-15. But he used to say, I mean, you sweat blood out there, and eventually when you won, the Italian crowd would get up and cheer. And
that's a good serve there from Sampras. He needs a few more of those.
Game point.
Sampras.
Sampras will change hands, down a set, leading 1 game to love, though. Deja vu. Becker beat Sampras in the round-robin competition. He's trying to do it again. It's not that easy because Sampras is the top player in the world, and he talked about it.
one of the rare occasions where I have to beat the #1 twice in 1 week to win a whole championship. But that's the system, and I again have to raise my level of playing. He's playing a little bit better each match, and it's going to be a longer match, you know, with probably many ups and downs, and I'm in for a tough battle.
The last time a man got to the final of the Masters and lost to the same guy for the second time was 13 years ago, and it was our very good friend and Pete Sampras' very close friend, the late great Vitas Gerulaitis, who lost to Lendl in the round robin part of the competition and then in the final.
I was coaching Vitas at that stage, Mary, and I was sitting in the broadcasting booth for that match, doing it for Channel 9 Australia.
Yeah.
And Vitas had a match point and a second serve from Lendl, and he knew he should have chipped and came in. He chipped, took 2 steps forward and about 4 back, and that was it. He lost then in the final set.
30 love. Called wide.
Shot before that, you saw a few of the crowd with the clackers that they ring in those wooden things that make an awful noise, and the last time we saw those was in Davis Cup match in the United States when Germany played the US a couple of years ago.
Just to clarify why I said that these two had played earlier this week and they're both still in it. This was not a knockout competition. There were 2 round-robin groups. Sampras and Becker, Ivanisevic and Edberg were in one group, and they played in the round-robin. He got it. 40-15. The other group was Agassi, Bruguera, Chang, and Beresategi. Agassi and Bruguera came through there.
There were so many close matches, except the ones played by Alberto Beresategi of Spain. He was 0-3 on the week, but he doesn't have much indoor experience. Remember, Sergio Bruguera was 0-3 last year, his first time at the Masters. And he just barely lost to Boris Becker yesterday in the semis here. He really improved, and in fact, Sampras was a little bit lucky that he got past Andre Agassi. It could have been a Bruguera-Agassi final, but these two fought so well when it really counted.
Good cross-court forehand again from Sampras there, his favourite shot, but Becker not quite onto that one, but it's still game point for the German.
First service.
Oh, went for the big one down the centre, trying to attack the forehand of Sampras, as he has done right throughout this set. It's his second double fault.
Becker's family, that's his sister and mother.
And there's Dad.
Father in the glasses.
Curly hair with the glasses there.
Right of your screen.
They all live about a half hour from here.
Lyman, Germany, not far from Mannheim.
Out.
Guess the name of the indoor club in Lyman, Germany. No prizes if you get it. It's called the Boris Becker Halle. Here is a breakpoint chance for Sampras.
Sampras only had 2 their last match here a couple of days ago and went 0 for 2, and he had 2 in the first set and missed them as well. Here's his 3rd chance.
First service.
Boy, that has paid dividends. I'd like to have shares in that one today. It's 5 aces he served right down the tee.
Talked about the breakpoint chances a minute ago.
11 in total.
Do you remember, Fred, that Sampras did have a chance there to break back in that backhand that you talked about when he netted it? Outside of that, though, Becker has just served well when he needed to. Deuce. His serve now is getting up there close to the 120-mile-an-hour range consistently as he warms up.
Oh, it's too tough.
This is why Sampras much prefers the outdoor season. He talks about it. He said, I like being outside. I like dealing with the conditions. He said, Becker's just, you know, you put a roof over his head.
I said right at the start of the show that you know, Sampras, I think, has got a mindset against Becker indoors, and he had a couple of break points in the first set, lost it, and a couple there and lost it. So that will start. Sampras is going to think, well, I've had some of these the last couple of matches and I haven't been able to do anything. This guy's got my number indoors. Good point here. Becker gets the slice backhand, allows Sampras to get in tight for the volley, and then opens up the court with the volley, pushes that one into the open court.
Tim Gullickson's face is clearing up a little bit. We talked a couple of weeks ago. He was so weakened by a crash diet he was on that he collapsed and broke his face on a glass table. He was a little bit lucky, in fact. And now he says about his looks, he said, you know, I used to look good from a sand wedge. Now I'm more of a 3-iron.
He was lucky our friend Nicky Pilic was going to his room when Gullickson's door was open, or Gully got to the door, and Nicky saw him with a lot
Kind of stumbled out, yes.
Blood all over the place, and he wanted to know what time Pete's match was or something, and Nicky said, you just sit there and we'll get you to the doctor.
He was a bit delirious. He's better now. He's okay.
That's a great shot from his man.
What a shot on the run.
That's like the shot he needed against Agassi yesterday to stay in the second set.
2-1, Sampras on serve, second set. Just look at that great shot that Sampras hit there to win that last game. He had 40 love at that stage, came through with a very pretty swing, though. And he wins the game. 2-1, Sampras leads.
And the first set, Becker won 6-4. The reason? Becker lost only 7 points on serve. Look at those first serve percentages. 75 for Becker, 42 for Sampras. Becker only needed the 1 break point. Sampras had a couple and couldn't convert.
It is tough to pick where he's going, isn't it, Fred? If you and Mary, if you look at the way, I mean, he throws the ball up and you say, now, which way is he going now? It's very difficult, and Sampras is having that same difficulty because that forehand, if he'd known it was going there, he could have covered it. 15 love.
So I'm a great believer at this stage with players like this with heavy serves. You've got to guess on certain points, and if you're given the opportunity, and Sampras has got to know that Becker's going to his forehand out wide 4 times as many serves as he is going down the tee. So give him the one down the tee. Look after the one. You've got to make him change his service motion to go down the tee more. That's what you've got to do. Good return there from Sampras, brings it back to 15 all.
Running forehand that time clipped the IBM ATP Tour sign. Not high enough.
When you've got somebody that's serving and beating you in one spot, you've got to move over there and cover that and say, well, hey, here's a big open spot here, but to get it, you have to change your service motion. You have to change your rhythm to do that. Sometimes it throws the rhythm off.
(40-15) Becker. Sampras won everything he entered in the first half of the year. It's a slight exaggeration. He lost 5 matches altogether as you watch that Becker volley again. But then he was injured after Wimbledon, after winning Wimbledon. And he did not have a good summer. He was out most of the summer. Finally won an event in Antwerp indoors that just preceded this week. Becker holds on 2 games all.
That's why, you know, we're all wondering who's going to be playing Davis Cup in 1995. And Pete Sampras hasn't committed yet. Only, in fact, Jim Courier and Todd Martin have signed on. And the thing is, Sampras got hurt right after Wimbledon when we were watching him play against the Dutch. Here's his Boris Becker's wife, Barbara, his coach, Nick Bollettieri. Mike DePalma, his hitting partner, sitting there too. And then Sampras got injured after the U.S. Open, too, with a bad knee. I mean, unfortunately, the timing of Davis Cup is not great for these players who are always seem to be involved in the final weekends of the 2-week Grand Slam events.
No, it's not. The other question is whether Becker's going to play Davis Cup for Germany next year. He's saying that he won't play the first match for that reason.
He wants him in Australia.
That's a great play. Terrific play there from Becker. Snuck in as soon as he got the angle on the cross-court backhand. This top spinner here, as soon as he gets the angle, he sees that Sampras is going to slice it. He makes the move into the net. Sampras has to make it and run across for that running forehand. Becker sees him and goes back in behind him. Good strategy.
We're talking about how consistent is the serve, the look of the Becker serve. Pete, the formative coach Sampras' young life, Dr. Pete Fisher, he used to practice. He said, I'd call the serve while the ball was in the air so that Pete had to have the same toss for a monster flat serve, the heavy kick, and the vicious slice. Oh, chummed it, an easy volley. He'd done some good work to get himself to the net, in nice and tight, and then really lost his concentration and made his life a little bit complicated here. That should have been 40-15. Now the fans are going to try to beg another break out of Becker.
And one break is all it took in the first set.
Yeah, this kind of indoor tennis, one break a set will do it. And again, Pete presses 197. He was going for 122-mile-an-hour serve and missed it.
He missed it. That was unlucky for Becker, wasn't it?
That was totally unlucky.
Sampras covered that one and hit the top of the tape. Even if it had been cleanly over there, it would have been a very difficult shot for Becker. He does a great effort to get to this one. Look at Becker, got the open court, drives it down there, hits the tape. Sampras would have been struggling to get to it, and the luck of the net cord, it pushed it about 6 inches out. Look at Sampras trying to stretch for that. He plays the shot, hits the top of the tape, and it bounces out. Relief right there for Sampras. That's a great volley.
Nevertheless, Becker was keeping the pressure on Sampras there, and he's getting the message. 3-2. Sampras, no breaks. Second set. First set to Becker.
3-2.
Chaminade versus Maryland at 2 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow here on ESPN. Plus 2 games tomorrow night, Utah and Indiana at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Tulane and Michigan at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That's college basketball as it gets underway. Coverage of the Maui Classic, and it's live from the Island Paradise. Didn't we used to call Key Biscayne the Island Paradise?
We? No, we didn't. You did. Every day for 4 years until we begged you to stop.
I thought it was anywhere there was an island. I thought Bali was the island paradise, or it will be for 3 days before Jakarta anyway.
That's next week, Ben.
Before the doubles final, Cliff and I are going to Bali.
Yeah, I'll be carrying your bags again, Fred. 15 love, Becker.
Actually, we invited Mary to come along.
Bellies on that beach.
Yeah, we invited Mary to come along, but she just wanted to sing to us about it as we watch this. This is a tough shot for Becker, high backhand volley because of the grip that he uses. He doesn't get as much power on it as a lot of the other players.
Some fans are more into this than others.
Holding thumbs for Becker, no doubt. 15 love. Yeah.
That was well struck from Sampras. Becker again doesn't go to the open court here. He thinks Sampras is going to move. Sampras fakes it, comes back, and sets himself beautifully. Look how you hit that topspin backhand. You plant that front foot, which take the weight on the front foot, keep the back foot still, let the head of the racket and the shoulders turn, and then swing through out towards the target. Perfection.
15 all. Interesting in that replay also how you could see that ball almost grab the court and stand up just a little bit, which is what makes it slower. 15 all.
From Sampras, 15-30.
Double fault for Becker. That's his third. He has 12 aces.
From
Two double faults in a row. Sampras cannot let this opportunity slip.
Break points coming his way.
He had a 15-40 game against Becker in the first set and let it slip. With a bad backhand and a big Becker ace that got Boris out of trouble.
He's had 3 opportunities, hasn't been able to convert one.
Barbara Feltus Becker right there, front row, Becker's wife.
That slice backhand that he floats long, it just gets to play on your mind, and it must be playing on Coach Gullickson's mind, because this is 4 break points. If he loses this and you lose this game, then you start to think, well, how many opportunities do I need against this guy? And again, that plays on his mind because he has not beaten Becker indoors once. 5 out of 6 to Becker.
That was right here on this court.
Becker's taking it to the backhand just as Andre Agassi did yesterday. They both seem to feel that they can poke and prod at the Sampras backhand, and they will get an open face shot. A little too much of a slice. Not enough teeth in that.
He's had 5 breakpoint chances and hasn't converted one, Pete, yet.
Oh, he was robbed there too, so Lady Luck's against him as well. That occasion, that was an outright winner until it hit the tape and then took another dive about a yard further out.
Boy, that's
3 in this game. They tend to come in clusters for Becker. It happened with him yesterday against Bruguera, but he served his way out of trouble.
He goes for the second serve. We've talked about that. He feels that the percentages ultimately are on his side, and in my book, he's dead right.
I agree with you. You got to take those risks if you're going to get your second serve jumped all over. You got to serve a couple of double faults too, but not that many in one game.
Oh, and he comes in behind his second serve, which Sampras doesn't do, so he's got to make it good. And that one was good.
170 kilometer an hour. That was 106 mile an hour second serve right into the body. And Sampras is, to some extent, especially off that backhand side, intimidated when he gets in so close. He is trying for too much. I know you'd like to see him slice a couple, Fred.
No, I'd like to see him flatten it out. If he's not going to slice it, just flatten it out a little bit. He used to be able to do that, and he does it on grass.
Game point here for Becker.
Man, that's 4 in this game alone.
Yeah, that doesn't do you any good. 4 double faults keeps Sampras in it, but Sampras has got to be saying, hey, I've got to do it in this game. This guy's giving me all the help I can possibly get. 4 points, 4 freebies, and I've had a couple of break points and I haven't converted.
And it's the third deuce still. He still hasn't been able to get what he needs. Because if he cannot pressure the Becker serve, that means that Becker can go ahead and keep pressuring his serve.
That's
Oh,
5
man,
double
that's-
faults.
Remember in the first set, Boris Becker had like a 75% first serves in. This set, it's
52, yeah, way down. Nick Bollettieri says, hey, we've worked on that second serve. It's paid dividends all the way through. It's down to 50% now on first serves in this particular set. If you remember in the first set, it was way up around 80% for a while.
Break point for Sampras. Extraordinary. He'll serve 2 double faults in this match and then suddenly 5 in this game. And he pays the price finally as Pete Sampras makes the return and gets the break. 4 games to 2, but let's face it, he was handed that game.
I was going to say, Cliff, I don't think in top-class tennis I can remember somebody serving 5 double faults and still holding serve. I'm sure it's happened. Somebody's going to say it has happened and happened at Wimbledon or this or that.
I must have held serve once in that situation, maybe.
That's incredible.
That was a long time ago.
So Sampras has really now got to concentrate and say, I've been given a little early Christmas gift here from my friend Boris. I've got to consolidate. New balls he's serving with at 4-2. Becker gave him an early Christmas gift by beating Stefan Edberg to let him in the tournament, into the semi-finals actually, in the round-robin competition.
That's exactly right. Mathematically, Becker had to beat Edberg for Sampras to get in. And Pete, in fact, went to Boris's locker room. All the players have their own separate, lavish locker rooms here. And he went in, knocked on his door and said, Boris,
Good luck, yeah.
Good luck, man. Good luck. And he watched the whole I tried to watch part of that match with Sampras, but he made me too nervous. Then afterwards, he also congratulated him.
This is a big game for Sampras here for his confidence level.
I don't think he knocked on Becker's door this morning and said good luck.
First service.
How fickle he truly is.
Low 15.
Another unforced error from Becker. That's his 17th of this game against just 8 from
Mary,
Sampras.
in Paris, you were talking about the fact when they played that Sampras did have a service break in both sets and he lost it there, or he had a couple of service
That was against
breaks
Agassi.
against Agassi.
But in Stockholm, Sampras got handled pretty roughly by Becker. He looked a little sluggish on that very fast court.
Oh, that was a mistake. Becker trying to go for the cute shot after the cute shot. And he had the down the line play. Sampras had it easily covered. And the court was open. Watch this again.
This would have been a tough one to go down the line with because it's nearly a perfectly played drop. No, you could have snuck it down the line there. It did get up high enough, and Sampras has got the open court. Good call.
Boy, they're both hitting the net. They're both going for those down the lines, off the sides, and getting some unlucky net courts. Have a look. I mean, this obviously this court is strictly a singles court, which means that net doesn't cover a doubles alley as well. It's a little tight up on those sides, and that's why you get some rough bounces off the net courts. Nice serve from Sampras. Boy, what a better second set this has been for him.
Match has become a little spotty here to the advantage of Sampras. Here are the 8 that made it here. Edberg was the number 8 player, then Beresitegi, Michael Chang, Becker, Ivanisevic, Bruguera, Agassi, and the top one, who was way out front of everybody, was Pete Sampras. Michael Stich, who won it last year, didn't make it. He was number 9, and Todd Martin also came close. Number 10 in the world. Question now is, how will Becker serve this game? Last game he served, when he lost, he served 5 double faults. It's 5-2 Sampras.
That's the forehand that he didn't play in the first round against Becker, so he certainly has learned something. Coach Gullickson talked to him about that.
So did you, Fred.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard you say
that was you who went up to him and said, "Hey, Pete."
So why you give Gullickson the...
Because
he said the same thing.
Because Sampras said, well, you don't have to tell me that. Gully just told me that. So at least we both picked up on the same thing. This has turned around, though, because service percentage is totally the opposite. The first set, it was Becker around 75% and Sampras under 50%. Now Sampras is 75% in this set, Becker at 46%. And believe me, serve and volley tennis, that's the difference.
15 all.
Boy, he just has lost the rhythm because he has not the power. He's still thumping that second serve down there at about 100 miles an hour.
Well, I don't know. It's tough to explain.
But so what does he do now? Does he take a little bit off it to try and get it in?
At this stage, I think you just got to keep banging away.
Oh.
That's a heck of a running forehand again from Sampras. How many times have you said that about him? And he's got a couple of set points here on Becker's serve. I think you start to rethink in the next set.
Good return here, and not a bad volley, but doesn't get the angle on the volley off that backhand or the pace because of the grip that Becker has on that backhand volley. Sampras pretty quick around the court, and that's his favorite shot, or has become his favorite shot.
And that, like serve like that's not even close.
No, that missed by 10 feet.
He got that one, clipped the line. Sampras would like a call.
He's not going to get a call, and I don't think after what happened yesterday he's going to get an overrule. Well, that looked as though it was out. It was out.
It was out. Sampras was right, and it's a set point, boy. Here's one more set point for Sampras.
Jerry Armstrong too far away for him to overrule, but a missed call by the lines judge.
It's deuce. With these replays that show you so clearly whether the ball was in fact in or out, it is going to make the job of the chair umpire a lot more difficult because they are not going to overrule anymore for fear of making a mistake. I firmly believe you're going to see a lot less of that under these circumstances. Deuce.
Very few.
The only solution is technology, and they give them a little monitor up there, the same as we have here, and immediately they show that replay.
Yeah, but very few tennis tournaments have this many cameras pointed at the court.
No,
so that's
true.
it's that's the deal on that. So Becker escapes 2 set points.
Game point Becker now. And game, so he got out of that one, but barely. Now it's Sampras to serve for the set, leading 5-3.
Oh, this is a big move here. Big twist of fate, actually. Sampras has to win this serve. If he doesn't, hey, this should be a set all. They should be starting the third set right now to set a piece. It's not. Sampras still has to win it.
Very close to 2 sets being played, and we're just an hour and 8 minutes into the match.
By the way, if you're watching yesterday, Andre Agassi ended up getting fined $4,000. 2 different fines were given him against Pete Sampras. He got a terrible call, which he felt was very key to the match. Of course it was, and he ended up losing in the 3rd set, even though he got out of that particular game. But an audible obscenity. And then Rudy Berger in the chair. Agassi asked Rudy to kiss him. And somewhere, and it didn't happen anyway. $4,000 worth of fines. Goran Ivanisevic got fined $3,000 here this week. And he's now suspended for 2 months and has to pay a pretty hefty fine.
Now set point for Sampras for a 3rd time. He had 2 on Becker's last serve game.
Photograph.
$4,000 or $5,000 fine here as we watch Sampras play. This is just like a pinch on the arm, like
Yeah, that's nothing,
extracting a
correct.
hair out of their arm or something. That's absolutely nothing. They're up here. Whoever wins this is into $1.3 million.
Three set points.
So there is the second set to Sampras, 6-3. He lost the first 6-4. Both sets, only one break needed. Set 3 after a break.